Jesus, releasing destinies. This is Celebration TV. Jesus, releasing destinies. This is Celebration TV.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femima.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details. Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT +1, that is 11 a.m. GMT +1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth. Amounted to 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense. The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosu.
Hello, welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I am Belly Squetta and thanks for joining us today. Now the news making the headlines. Senate upgrades Auchi Polytechnic to university. Ethiopia partially restored internet after 2 weeks outage. UK payrolls shrink by 649,000 jobs in lockdown. Labour Ministry and Senators clash over banking bill amendments. And Manchester United striker Rashford to receive honour for charity works. Stay with us as the details come after this time out. Welcome back, and now the news in details. Senate upgrades Auchi Poly to university. The Senate passed a bill seeking to establish the City University of Technology, Auchi, Edo State, and 2 other tertiary institutions in the country. Others were the Nigerian Maritime University of Okeren-Koko, Delta State, and the Federal College of Education in Giwa, Kaduna. The 3 bills were passed by the upper chamber following a clause-by-clause consideration of the report of the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund. The reports on the bill were presented by the chairman of the committee, Senator Baba Kaita. Senator James Manager sponsored the bill on the Nigerian Maritime University, while Senator Francis Alimi Kena sponsored that of the University of Technology, Auchi. Senator Ubasani sponsored the bill for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Giwa, in Kaduna State. While presenting the report, Kaita said that the Federal Polytechnic Auchi was currently running degree programs in affiliation with the Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Awka, Anambra State, with enrollment of over 50,000 students on full and part-time. And now moving forward to another news story, Senate wants age limit scrapped for job seekers. The Nigerian Senate asked President Muhammadu Buhari to direct the Federal Ministry of Labour and Productivity to set up a committee to review the age limit for job seekers in the country to allow competent applicants to be employed. The resolution followed the consideration of a motion by Senator Ibrahim Gobir. Gobir cited Orders 42 and 52 of the Senate Standing Rule and noted that requirements of ministries, departments and agencies and other private bodies which set up as barriers inadvertently executes and marginalizes skillful and competent prospective applicants from participating in such exercises. And now, in his contribution, Senator Bala Naala drew the attention of the upper chamber to the federal government's embargo on employment over 13 years ago. He said the embargo during the period must be factored into the review of age limits by the Ministry of Labor and Productivity for prospective job seekers in the country. The Senate President Ahmad Lawan condemned the discrimination against the job seekers as a result of the barrier imposed by the prescribed age limit. And now on another news story, face mask Bayelsa warns against extortion. The governor of Bayelsa State, Mr. Doye Duri, has warned police officers and other security operatives to stop extorting money from the residents under the guise of enforcing the wearing of face mask directive. He gave the warning while donating thousands of face masks to representatives of bankers, marketers, road transport workers, maritime and tricycle owner unions at the government house in Yenagoa. The governor, who was represented by his deputy, Mr. Lawrence Ehuru Jakpo, said the state government has given neither task force officials nor the police the mandate to arrest and impose fines on anybody found without a face mask. Diri said the donation of the face mask was in fulfillment of the government's promise, adding that his administration had distributed over 30,000 face masks in the states. And now on news coming from around Africa, Ethiopia partially restores internet after 2 weeks outage. Ethiopia restored internet partially across the country according to Internet Monitoring Group, NetBlocks, as the July 14, exactly 2 weeks since the outage. Users of fixed lines and Wi-Fi lines were in first to have the service. Real-time metrics showed that the country remains largely offline as of Wednesday 15th July, with only a rise in fixed line and Wi-Fi lines observed in recent days. Most users remained offline as cellular networks remained cut. The Prime Minister Abiy's spokeswoman defended the outage last week in an interview, saying the respect for the fundamental rights and dignity of citizens also primarily includes the right to live free from the harm and dignity regardless of religious, ethnicity and other protected categories. And if the internet is being used by certain forces to spread hate speech and vitriol, that is particularly initiating ethnic, religious and communal violence, then ensuring human security supersedes. Internet rights groups like NetBlocks, Access Now and Paradigm Initiative joined human rights outlets like Amnesty and Human Rights to call for the restoration of connectivity. The United Nations Human Rights Office also made a similar call. And now moving forward to still from Africa, another news from Kenya. Kenya coronavirus, the KQ resumes local operations and recoveries hit 3,000. Kenya continues to battle the COVID-19 pandemic with cases steadily rising every day. Government has locked down a handful of counties, including the capital, Nairobi, and imposed a nighttime curfew as part of containment efforts. This rolling page will continue to give updates on major occurrences as relatives to East African countries. It says that Kenya, as of May 10th, was the fourth most impacted country in the East Horn of Africa region, only behind Djibouti, Sudan, and Somalia. Now, government also rolled out mass testings in the virus hotspots, borders remain shut, and a ban on public gathering continues. After 99 days, the state carrier's first commercial passenger flight took off from the capital Nairobi to Mombasa. The KQ602 took off with each passenger wearing a face mask and observing physical distancing from the formalities through the boarding. Another flight, KQ655, also flew to Kisumu. Upon touchdown in Kisumu, present to meet the arriving flight was Governor of Kisumu, Nyango, and other stakeholders. The carrier was one of the most impacted African flyers during the pandemic. Most passengers' aircraft were converted into cargo flights to transport essential supplies and cross-continental produce. Recoveries as a close of days has crossed over to 3,000 marks. The total recovery stood at 3,017 people. The caseload is now at 10,791, the highest in the East and Horn of the African region. We're going to a short break right now. When we come back, we'll get more news updates from the United Kingdom. Stay with us.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Mark.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details. Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT plus 1, that is 11 a.m. GMT plus 1, on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth. Fight for glory, desire for victory.
I am Lizzie Johnson Suleiman, and I want to use this time out to invite all the women watching me right now. It's our International Women Conference again. I know you will not want to miss this. Regardless of what is happening, we are trusting God that God is set to do something great in our midst.
Power! Happy sounds! 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 Power!
The theme for this conference this year is No More Tears, and the date is on the 12th, the 13th and 14th of August. God's servant Apostle Johnson Suleiman will be with us, ministering greatly, and God using him to reach out to us again. So you don't want to miss this. Just get set, prepare yourself to be in this meeting.
Touch! Touch! Touch!
It's a time of revival. It's a time of revitalization. It's a time to get ourselves hooked up again, connected again to the supernatural, and you see what God will do in your life. The Lord bless you.
Live at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. International Women Conference 2020.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Mark.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details. Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT plus 1, that is 11 a.m. GMT plus 1, on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth.
Welcome back. Now news updates from the United Kingdom, where UK payrolls shrink by 649,000 jobs in lockdown. The number of workers on the UK payroll has fallen by 649,000 between March and June, the official figures indicate. The number of people claiming work-related benefits, including the unemployed, was 2.6 million. However, the total was not as big as many feared, because large numbers of firms have put employees on a government-backed fallout scheme. Economists say the full effects on employment will not be felt until the scheme ends in October. The Office of National Statistics, the ONS, said that since the start of the coronavirus pandemic, 2 weeks hours worked in the UK has fallen by a record of 175.3 million, or 16.7%, to 877.1 million hours. The ONS added that a larger than usual number of those losing their jobs were not currently looking for another one and were therefore economically inactive rather than unemployed. Jerry Thomason Cook, chief economist at the financial service firm's ENQUIRY, said the fallout scheme has made the monthly reading of the job number rather meaningless, giving 9 million people and technically neither employed nor jobless. And on other stories, more updates from around Europe. Big choice for the European Union leaders on recovery billions. After a few months of stilted democracy, diplomacy by video conference, presidents and prime ministers will once again gather face to face. Although, of course, that doesn't mean they will see eyeball to eyeball. Expect plenty of face masks and plenty of display of social distancing to go along with the rather obvious political distancing which has emerged in the long months of lockdown. And it's not just the sight of the European Union leaders gathering in person who will seem familiar, it's the problem they confront. On the face of it, the summit is about money. They need to set an EU budget for around €1 trillion for the period ending in 2027, and at the same time to agree on an ambitious 750 billion euros recovery fund. For the big Brussels institution, the European Commission and the EU Council, there is a lot at stake in all of that, not least owns centrally in the Europeans' political life. As the coronavirus pandemic began to hit Europe earlier in the year, member states responded not as a unified entity under the direction of Brussels by nation, but nations with each government putting the interest of its own people first. And away from Europe now to news from the world of business. Labour Ministry senators clash over banking bill amendment. The relationship between the Ministry of Labour and National Assembly worsened when the representatives of the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, clashed with members of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions at the public hearing. The public hearing was on Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act Cap B3 LFN 2004, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2020 and Electronic Transaction Bill 2020. Trouble started when the Director of Productivity and Labor Standards in the ministry, Yewumi Daniel, was invited to make comments on the bill that sought to amend BOFIA. He caused a stir when he demanded the suspension of both the public hearing and the bill pending when the Senator Committee will formally invite the ministry and send a copy of the draft bill to it. Enyewumi argued that even though being a major stakeholder, the ministry was not carried along in the public hearing but decided to send a representative when it stuttered and information in the media. He said the ministry should know how the bill will affect work interest. He therefore asked the Senate panel to either step down further actions on the bill or expunge aspects that would affect workers' interest. The submission of the ministry did not go down well with the panel, who insisted that the legislative process on the bill would continue. The chairman of the panel, Senator Ubasani, warned the ministry against dictating to the National Assembly how it should carry its own business of lawmaking. And another business story, NNPC loses by 200%, hit 30.8 billion naira. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation lost 30.81 billion naira in April 2020, representing over 200% increase in its operating deficit. Latest figures from the oil firms have showed. In the report of the corporation's financial and operational activities for April 2020, the oil firm explained that the deficit posted by its flagship subsidiary, the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, caused the over 200% monthly loss recorded by the group. The oil firm stated that the net result was an increased deficit to the group. It, however, noted that the ensured continuous increase of the PMS, that's supply and effective distribution across the country, a total of 0.94 billion liters of PMS, translating to 31.37 million liters per day, was supplied in the month of April in the downstream sector. It stated that in the month under review, a total of 65 pipeline points were vandalized, representing about 2.4 times increase from the 19 points recorded in March 2020. In another development, the NNPC advised against a swift relocation to tank farms from their current locations along Ijegun, Kirikiri areas in Lagos and other parts of the country. It said this was in order to avoid dislocation in the supply and distribution chain of petroleum products across the nation. I will go on another break right now. When we come back, we get news from the world of sports. Stay with us.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femima.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details. Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT +1, that is 11 a.m. GMT +1, and Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth. Fight for glory, desire for victory.
I am Lizzie Johnson Suleiman, and I want to use this time out to invite all the women watching me right now. It's our International Women Conference again. I know you will not want to miss this. Regardless of what is happening, we are trusting God that God is set to do something great in our midst.
Power! Happy sounds! 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 Power!
The theme for this conference this year is No More Tears, and the date is on the 12th, the 13th and 14th of August. God's servant Apostle Johnson Suleiman will be with us, ministering greatly, and God using him to reach out to us again. So you don't want to miss this. Just get set, prepare yourself to be in this meeting.
Touch! 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 Touch!
It's a time of revival. It's a time of revitalization. It's a time to get ourselves hooked up again, connected again to the supernatural, and you see what God will do in your life. The Lord bless you.
Live at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries, Auchi, Dove State, Nigeria. International Women Conference 2020.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femima.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details. Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk. Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT +1, that is 11 a.m. GMT +1, and Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk, the whole truth.
Now welcome back. Now on the world of sports, Manchester United striker Rashford to receive honor for charity work. Marcus Rashford to become the youngest person to receive an honorary doctorate from the University of Manchester for his work campaigning against child poverty and his sporting achievements. The 22-year-old Manchester United and England forward will follow in the footsteps of United greats Alex Ferguson and Bobby Charlton in earning the accolade from the university, which is the highest honor it can bestow. Last month, he forced a government U-turn after he wrote an open letter to the MPs asking for the reversal of a decision not to award free school meal voucher to vulnerable children outside term time. The striker said his family relied on a free school meal when he was growing up. During the coronavirus pandemic, he had also teamed up with Poverty and Food Waste charity Fair Share to help raise millions to provide meals for vulnerable people. And now in another sports story, Dakar 2022 Youth Olympics postponed until 2026, says the IOC. The 2022 Youth Olympic Games in Dakar will now take place instead in 2026, the IOC and the host Senegal announced. The 4-year delay was forced by the global health crisis generated by coronavirus and the holding back by a year of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics and a slew on other major international sporting competitions. The IOC chief, Thomas Bach, thanked Senegal President Macron for his exceptional relationship and trust and equity. The 4-year delay was ratified by the IOC on the first day of its conference moved from the intended location in Tokyo to video links. President Sall said he takes the opportunity to reaffirm his confidence in the executive board and welcomes the commitment of its teams working side by side with them to make Dakar 2026 the first Olympic event in Africa, a successful and memorable occasion. Singapore held the inaugural Summer Youth Games in 2010. And that's the size of the news for you on Celebration Television News Desk. If you're just joining us, here is a recap of the news making the headlines. The Senate upgrades Auchi Polytechnic to university. Ethiopia partially restores internet after 2 weeks of outage. Shrink by 649,000 jobs in lockdown. Labor ministries and senators clash over banking bill amendments. And Manchester United striker Rashford to receive honor for charity work. And today on our photo of the day, we see it reads, "It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see." So no matter how you're looking at that situation or that thing, it's how you see it that will determine how it has an impact in your life and in whatsoever you're doing. So share with us your thoughts on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Celebration TV. On Instagram, we are My Celebration TV. On Twitter, it is at My Celebration TV. And on YouTube, the channel name is Celebration TV. Don't forget that the continuous transformation of our society is a collective responsibility of all. So no matter the office you hold, as a nation's president, a thought leader, an opinion molder, a character builder, a professional, as a person pursuing passion, you have a duty to give your all to making the society a better place for us and the generations to come. So do well to play your part and do it with all diligence. Thanks for watching the news in Celebration Television News Desk. I am Belly Squitter. Have a bright and beautiful day. Thank you.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense. The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor Ibikule Amoso